innocent man freed after 30 years. Let's go to the footage.
It's been a long journey, but it's over with. Partially over with, huh?
We're still fighting.
Yeah.
We're still
Yeah, working for my small club. I call them my dream team. That's what it is. Thank y'all very much.
30 years. He served 30 years for a crime he never committed. Put up the picture full mass. Let me give you the story of Mr. Larry Moses, a newly freed New Orleans man who served 30 years for a crime he never committed. In 1995, Mr. Moses was sentenced to life in prison for 2 counts of first-degree murder based on the false witness testimony provided. He's now been granted a new trial celebrating this milestone victory. Quote, "It's unbelievable, from the dungeon to back to life again," he told WWL television. According to the Innocence Project, January 1994, a suspect approached 2 people at the intersection of Feliciana and Humanity Streets. This was in an attempt to rob them before fatally shooting both victims. 6 months later, a man who saw his ex-girlfriend with Moses went to police and fingered him in the 2 slayings. Mr. Moses, without any evidence, was convicted based on the identification and that of another witness who claimed to identify him by his voice as the killer. In addition to being convicted of a crime he has maintained for decades he did not commit, Innocence Project New Orleans attorney Cheryl Arnold said Moses barely escaped the death penalty due to a single juror's vote. Mr. Moses is innocent. He has provided evidence of his innocence, Arnold said to WWL television. Arnold said that Innocence Project investigators found the state withheld evidence to the defense, and Moses' conviction was based on a false testimony. Jurors also discounted witness testimony that Moses wasn't in town when the shooting happened. He was granted post-conviction relief, and the verdict of his initial trial was vacated in late May. But he still is fighting. You see, the charges were not dropped by the district attorney's office. He's been granted a new trial, the attorney said. The 68-year-old father to 18 children, grandfather to 30, and great-grandfather to 4, is happy to be returning home to see his huge family despite the prospect of being tried on the murder charges again. Moses is looking forward to making up lost time with his family. Mr. Moses was very happy, not upset, did not hold a grudge, wanted to move on with the life he has left. He's moving on. The DA's office obviously is not. So allow this segment to be a reminder of the dysfunction of our criminal justice system, especially for black males in America. This man was convicted with absolutely zero evidence to corroborate, and evidence presented that definitely screamed reasonable doubt. But it did not matter, especially back then. He was a black male accused of a heinous crime. And if it had not been for one single member of the jury who in the penalty phase voted not to kill him, the man will be dead today. And everybody in his family and all of his community would have believed that he possibly committed these murders, but he never did. The question now is, how many have we executed in this nation who were innocent of their crimes, but their stories are sealed because of corrupt ass officials who refused to present the evidence required? And why are those officials never arrested? Why are they never penalized? When story after story shows they are the ones who intentionally manipulated the facts, obstructed justice, filed false reports, and engaged in professional misconduct. The storyline is the state withheld evidence and nothing more. Max, thoughts?
I mean, the grace this man has is incredible, to be able to come out of prison and smile and to be gracious and to just want to move on. But I worry that in a way, this is a celebration that shouldn't have had to happen, as you note. I mean, there is something deeply wrong with our justice system, and it is intentional in many cases. You don't accidentally withhold evidence from the defense. You know exactly what you're doing. I mean, go back 2,000 years to ancient Rome, hardly a progressive paradise. They wouldn't even convict someone on a single eyewitness. Even then, we knew that eyewitnesses were not great sound things without supporting evidence. But this is something where a prosecutor had a predetermined outcome in mind. They likely gave it no more thought than any of the other trials they had that month, and they sent him away. But for the conscience of one person, he'd have been killed and we never would have known the truth. And now the important thing is, how does the state reckon with this? Not just to make it right for him, but for everyone else who could become him.
That's right. We will follow this story. I do expect some sort of lawsuit to be filed very soon. But right now, he's technically still fighting murder charges that everyone says he never actually committed.